Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about tampon use. In my last video, how to insert a tampon, I had gotten a lot of questions of girls asking, where exactly do you put the tampon? Does it hurt? How can they go swimming without using a tampon because they've never used one before? And so in this video right here, I'm going to answer a few of those questions that I got in hopes that wearing a tampon or the process just in general will be a lot easier for you. So let's get to it. So the easiest way of finding your vaginal opening is by using a mirror. So what I would suggest is taking a clean towel, placing it down on the floor, and then sitting on that towel, spread your legs open and place the mirror in front of it. Now I know it might be kind of weird to explore down there and you might feel ashamed and embarrassed, but keep in mind that there is nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. This is your body. Next step is to just use your fingers and spread your lips apart, and you're going to see something a little bit like this. Now, if you are thinking yours does not look like this, don't panic. There are many different looking vaginas. So moving on, there are 3 holes below. The first hole is your urethra, and this is where your pee comes out of. Then there is your anus, which is where your you-know-what comes out of. And in the middle is your vaginal opening. It may be difficult to see because your vaginal opening isn't just an open hole. Consider it like a closed handbag. It stays closed until it's opened. So this right here is the hole where you would stick your tampon in. Personally, I have never felt pain from using a tampon. I have felt, even still till this day, some discomfort every now and again, and that is because when I stick the tampon in, I don't stick it all the way in, so it's just sitting there right at the beginning part of my vagina, and so that will be the reason why I'm feeling discomfort. But come to think of it, the reason why some of you may feel pain is because when inserting the tampon, you need to remember that you need to insert it parallel, like this. Never insert it going straight up because your vagina is actually parallel. So if you're inserting the tampon straight up, you're hitting a wall and you're forcing the tampon to hit into that wall, and that's probably why you're feeling pain. This question kind of goes hand in hand with the last question that I just answered, and the reason why it may feel uncomfortable down there is because the tampon isn't in all the way. So next time you put the tampon in, make sure that you insert it all the way up inside of your vagina so that way it sits comfortably inside of there. But make sure you don't stick it too far up because you want to make sure that you still have the string for when you need to remove it. Yes, you can pee with a tampon in. Your urethra is a completely different hole. So I read that you can practice inserting a tampon before you even get your period, but I also read that they suggest you do it on your menstrual cycle for the simple fact that when you're on your menstrual cycle, it moistens your vagina, so that makes the insertion and the taking it out a lot more easier. Also, if you want to practice, I suggest you practicing with a smaller tampon like this and making sure that it has a plastic applicator and a rounded tip. So the best way to avoid discomfort when taking the tampon out is to make sure that you are using the right absorbency for your flow. So what I mean by this is that on your lighter flow days, because there is less blood to catch, you're going to want to make sure that you use a smaller, thinner tampon like this. And on your heavier flow days, you're going to want to make sure that you use a heavier tampon like this. So out of all of the years of using tampons, which is 15 plus years, I can tell you that the string has never broken before. However, I know that this can happen, so if it does happen, you don't need to panic. All you need to do is insert your thumb and your pointer into your vagina and just pull it out. So there have been situations where I know that I'm not going to be able to change my tampon within the 3 to 4 hours recommended. So what I like to do, especially on my heavier flow days, is wear a pad. So this way I can prevent any accidents from happening. Now, if you are in school and you need to use the bathroom, just raise your hand and ask the teacher to go. Now, I know sometimes we have strict teachers, we've all had them before, and they will say no. So what I recommend is if it's an emergency, I just suggest you getting up and leaving the classroom and going to the bathroom and dealing with your business. And once class is over, just talking to that teacher one-on-one and explaining to them why you did what you did, they have no reason but to accept it. If you leave your tampon in too long, it can increase the risk of infections and also TSS, which is toxic shock syndrome. TSS is caused by an overgrowth of bacteria. So although it's rare, it can happen, and so I would just be very cautious of it. I don't think there's a typical age when using tampons. It really just comes down to you and how comfortable you are using them. As long as you know how to insert it and you know to change it every 3 to 4 hours, there shouldn't be any problems. So this right here is actually one of the most common questions that I have gotten, aside from does it hurt? And personally, I wouldn't suggest wearing a pad for the simple fact that pads absorb liquid and the pool water is liquid, so it's just going to absorb it and make it soggy. However, if you are 100% against wearing tampons, then I do have a few little tips for you to do. The first tip, make sure that you wear a pad that doesn't have wings like this. If you only have pads that have wings, what I suggest is just folding it back like this onto the sticky part, or simply just taking a scissor and cutting it off. So that way the wing does not show. Tip number 2, I suggest you wearing a dark bathing suit, a black one, and make sure that the bottoms are full back like this. The next tip is to make sure that you wear a dark pair of shorts, the tighter the better, and that is because it will hold your pad in place, because the sticky part becomes not so sticky when you are in the water. So if you have a tight bottom on like this, it's going to make sure that your pad doesn't shift. Also, you're going to want to make sure that it's a dark color, because if God forbid you have a accident, you won't be able to see the red against the dark colors. So you will be all taken care of there. And as soon as you get out of the water, you're going to want to make sure that you head straight to the bathroom to change your pad onto a clean, fresh one that is dry. Now, on another note, if you are okay with wearing tampons while going swimming, but you are scared that the string may pop out and say hello to everybody, all you have to do is just cut it like so, making sure that you leave enough of the string. Let's just pull it out. Making sure that you leave enough of the string hanging out so that way you can pull it out. Another thing that I also like to do is I like to just take the whole string and fold it up and tuck it inside of my lips, so that way it doesn't come out at all ever. So I personally have never tried wetting the tip of a tampon, because I make sure that every single time I get tampons, they have the plastic applicator that covers the cotton so that the insertion is a lot easier. However, if you have a tampon where the cotton is sticking out of the cardboard like this question has asked, or the tampons like this that are OB, I think I would maybe put some Vaseline on the tip of it, but just on the tip, because again, once these get wet, they do expand and then it won't be any good. So just putting a little bit of Vaseline perhaps on the tip may help with the inserting it into your vagina. No, definitely not. I do not recommend you wearing 2 tampons at the same time, for the simple fact that you are just increasing your risk for infections and also for TSS, toxic shock syndrome. That is always so hard for me to say. It's kind of like a tongue twister. But anyway, yes, so we don't want to increase any of those chances for infections or anything like that. And also there just may be a possibility that you forget to take one of them out because you don't remember that you have 2 of them in there. Now, if it's just a heavier flow day, all you have to do is just wear a pad, and if your tampon is not absorbent enough, it'll just leak onto your pad and you won't have any accident. So there you have it. I hope this video was able to help you become a little bit more familiar with your body and also with the use of tampons. If there is anything that I may have missed and you still want to know, just comment it down in the comment box below and I will be sure to answer your questions the best that I can. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If so, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.